Korea, and today I'm going to talk about one tip that you need to remember when you're teaching ESL speaking. When you teach ESL, something that you always need to remember, no matter what you're teaching, what level, what age, is that you want to make your classroom as student-centered as possible. This is especially true for speaking, because it really is impossible for our students to get better at speaking if we're talking too much. I'm quite good at English. I'm a native speaker, and probably a lot of you are as well. Even if you're not, you're probably at least quite proficient at English if you are a teacher. So you really don't need to be practicing your English skills, but your students do. If you want to get better at doing something, anything, a sport or a hobby that you have, or a subject that you're studying, maybe math, or learning a language, of course you need to practice a lot. So if we can set up our classrooms so that our students are speaking a lot, that will be really beneficial for them. So a way that you can do that is to always think about every single minute that you're standing in front of the classroom talking. Think about if you could do that instead in a way that's more student-centered. So for example, when I did the CELTA course, my tutor really challenged me if I could make teaching grammar more student-centered by doing something like a self-discovery worksheet. So it is really possible to set up a worksheet for your students, and they can go step by step, learning about the grammar, and then maybe you can just do a quick summary at the end in 30 seconds instead of spending 7 or 8 minutes just talking or lecturing at your students. Another way to do this is if you have a class of more than 3 or 4 students, it's really not helpful to have full class discussions, because say you have 20 students and if you're maybe talking half the time and one student is talking the other half of the time, or different students are talking for that other portion of the time, there's 19 students who are just sitting and are perhaps not really engaged, they're not practicing speaking, it's really not useful for them. So instead you can break your students up into smaller groups. So I prefer pairs most of the time, but just to change things up, I'll put them in groups of 3 occasionally, and then I'll also do some activities and games that require groups of 4. So if you put students in pairs and give them an activity or a set of conversation questions or something like that, the students are each talking for 50% of that class time, which is far more useful than in a class of 20 where they're talking for maybe, 3 or 5% of the time. Alright, so if you want some more speaking tips as well as 39 low prep, no prep ESL speaking activities for teenagers and adults, head on over to Amazon and get my book, and I'll put the link down in the notes below. Good luck in your